We're here today to talk about the BLK360. And if you're new to scanning and are wondering why I have AKA the BLK360 G2, the simple reason is this is the second generation of the BLK360. To elaborate a little bit, it's more than just a new scanner or an update to a scanner. Leica has gone ahead and made a lot of changes to the BLK360 and essentially redesigned the whole thing. So I'm going to start today by looking at the different packages that are available for the BLK360, and we'll then go into some more of the technical details. So starting with the BLK360 module only, this of course includes the BLK360 laser scanner and 3 batteries. Now these batteries on average will last about, depending on the settings you use, anywhere from about 40 minutes to an hour. So having the batteries and the multi-charger that you see pictured here allow you to go ahead and plug in the different batteries. And if you're on site, a lot of times what I'll do is just pick an area where I'm scanning and just plug in the multi-charger, go scan until batteries start to die, and then move forward and just put them right on the charger as I go. We get a transportation case, which, as I stated, looks like a little bit of a pill with a handle, and the scanner fits in there with 2 batteries and of course the cable that we need, which is a USB-C cable and can be plugged into any laptop with USB-C or desktop if you have USB-C in your desktop. We have documentation on the scanner and the BLK Live App, which allows us to do a single scan export of an E57 file. We'll look more at that BLK Live App going forward here. All right, so moving on to the field package. The field package essentially includes most of what we have from the module only package, and then also includes the BLK360 tripod, mission bag, a 1-year Cyclone base subscription, which is required for your registered 360 plus software. And then the last but not least, the Cyclone FIELD 360, right? Now, I want to just kind of point out what is FIELD 360. On the previous slide, we learned about the BLK Live App. And that's a way for us to control the scanner, right? And when we control the scanner, we're simply taking 1 scan at a time and going forward, right? Whereas when we use the Cyclone FIELD app, we can do obviously 1 scan at a time as well, but the FIELD app is allowing us to use our iPad or iPhone or Android device to register our scan data as we go along. So this can be a very, very beneficial, or as we put it earlier, a game changer in the way we scan our projects. We are taking the time in the field to register, or for those that are new, stitch together our point cloud data while we're in the field. So we can actually see that data go together, and then we know, hey, look, do we need more scan data? Do we need to get an extra scan in somewhere? Did we miss data? Or simply, is everything going together well? we can see all of that in the Field 360 application. So huge benefit to have Field 360. Okay. Then we have the BLK 360 starter pack, which again, we're including the BLK scanner, all the items from module only, the tripod, and the mission bag, plus a 1-year subscription to Cyclone Register 360 Plus BLK Edition. Now, what is this? For those of you that are new to all of this, this is our desktop or laptop-based software where we can import the data, use the registration software, Register 360 Plus, to be able to stitch all of that data together, check what we did in the field, easily clean up point cloud data by getting rid of any unwanted data, like for instance, scanning through windows or something like that, right? So with the starter pack, we're getting the Register 360 Plus BLK Edition. Just a little bit more information on that. The BLK Edition is different from Cyclone Register 360 Plus, and we'll talk more about that here in a second. Okay, now we have our 1-year Cyclone base subscription, and of course that's required for Register 360 Plus. So those will just come together in the starter pack. Now we have the Starter Pack Plus. Once again, all the stuff we've talked about so far, and then we're going to add Cyclone Publisher Pro, also known as Cyclone Workflow, and a Cyclone 3DR Pro Edition software. Okay, so for all of you out there, maybe what the heck is this stuff? What does it do? Well, the Publisher Pro, again, it's a newer software now, it's called Workflow now, is giving us the ability to publish a Leica LGSX file and be able to do things like pull it into the TrueView, Leica's TrueView application, and use VR goggles with our point cloud. So we can put ourselves in the environment with a set of approved VR goggles and look around the whole site. It also allows us to take any model data that we might have. Maybe you've got a bunch of modeled project data over in Navisworks. You can export that data out as an IFC file. Or maybe from another software, you have an OBJ file. You can bring those data types into the TrueView application and compare your model data to your point cloud data. Again, huge advantages here, very simple, but huge advantages to be able to put somebody in an environment in the VR world, or to be able to compare your data side by side with the point cloud and see are there any differences. Cyclone 3DR, what is that? Well, one thing about 3DR, if you've ever seen it before, you might think of Cyclone 3DR, oh, it's just a 3D meshing software. I've heard that one a lot. It's more than just a 3D meshing software. Yes, we can use the point cloud data to create a 3D mesh from it, but we can also use 3DR to do analysis. Maybe you're in the manufacturing world, right? Maybe you have storage tanks. We can do tank analysis. Maybe you're in the construction field. You want to be able to do floor levelness or floor flatness evaluations. We can do that in 3DR. Right? And if you haven't seen yet, and if you've used 3DR in the past, 3DR as an all-new plant edition that allows us to create 3D piping with elbows and adjust the elbows and all that sort of thing. All right, we'll move on to the advanced pack. Once again, including everything, we got the Cyclone base subscription, we've got our Register 360 Plus, Publisher Pro edition as well, and then we move on to the Enterprise pack, which is going to add CloudWorx Ultimate to the mix. And CloudWorx is a way for us to take our point cloud data collected with our BLK 360 and bring that in to, let's say, AutoCAD or maybe Revit, and use commands within the CloudWorx tools to help model or 2D draft, if you're in AutoCAD, some of the data from the point cloud data. We can turn pipes into pipes. We can turn steel into steel. Over in Revit, we can do walls, doors, windows, conduit. All of these things can be created in CloudWorx. And the reason we're calling this, or Leica calls it, CloudWorx Ultimate, is because if we buy a license or if we have this enterprise pack, we have the ability to use that one license to open up CloudWorx for AutoCAD, to open up CloudWorx for Revit, to open up CloudWorx for Navisworks, plus a few more. But we can only open one at a time, right? So one license means one use. This is beneficial because now we don't have to buy a single license for each software package. All right. So we have an added time-limited feature when you buy a BLK 360 now, right? We have, when you purchase the BLK 360, you get provided with a 1-year subscription of Reality Cloud Studio. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that simply means that Leica has created a website where you can store your data. You can use that stored data to import your data into the CloudWorx application, into 3DR application. We can use it to share our point cloud data with clients. We can use it to mesh our point cloud data. And also, once we've meshed, be able to use it to look at a dollhouse view of our point cloud or of our mesh, which of course removes the outermost sides of the mesh and allows us to look inside. This time-limited feature includes 1 terabyte worth of storage, right? And you can send your data directly from the Field 360 app or the BLK Live app. All right, so let's get into some of the specs of the BLK 360, right? Look at this thing. Why do we say it's a game changer? It's only 6 inches high. It's 3 inches in diameter, or approximately 4 inches in diameter, actually. I've got it confused there. And like I said, in short, this thing is freaking small. It fits in the palm of your hand. It is about, well, I've got it sitting here next to a water glass. It's about the size of a water glass. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we can take it anywhere. We can place it almost anywhere, right? I say almost simply because we wouldn't want to take the thing and set it in a big old puddle. We can, if we need to, take it and set it up in a ceiling. We can set it behind some equipment that maybe is a little tight to set up a tripod. I can set it on the ground if I need to, and still be able to scan data and get that data rather fast. Right? Once again, you can walk on site with this whole scanner and really have it in your backpack. And I've carried it in my backpack with my laptop and everything else that I carry, just to be able to get on site without having to carry all these big cases or anything like that. So it is very, very small, which of course makes it very easy to use. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about some of the specs, some of the cameras. It's a 13 megapixel 4-camera system. We have our LDR and HDR to 5 bracket system. HDR, high dynamic resolution, right? That means that we're able to take our scanner, put it in an area where there's almost no light, scan, and be able to then take the pictures that it takes, even though it's in, I'm going to say almost darkness, not quite complete darkness, and be able to then brighten up our pictures so we can see details that we might not get with regular LDR photos. Or if we're in a very bright area, we can take the pictures and we can dim down our photographs to block out any light washout that we might get. Think about any time you've taken a picture in the sun where the sun has really washed out an area. You can actually turn down the HDR on the BLK and be able to still get some details. Right? Now, earlier you heard Lori say the all-new BLK 360, right? And while the scanner's been out for a little while, one of the things that is absolutely all new about this is Leica has added their Viz, or Visual Inertial System, to the BLK 360. What the heck is a Viz system? Well, the Viz system is a series of cameras built into the scanner that's going to allow us, or I should say, allow the scanner to realize when the scanner is being moved and be able to then start looking around with those cameras and seeing common points from one scan setup to the next. So as we go ahead and do this, from scan 1, you can see on the right there, to scan 2, the scanner's picking up common points. And it's saying, all right, I realize that where the scanner was and where the scanner is, and then it's going to use those common points for point cloud alignment. This is essentially automatic registration. Even though we have to accept a button, the software and the scanner are doing the work for us. So as we go from the second scan to the third scan, we are then looking at the alignment that the scanner creates. And in this case, you can see here, 2 separate point clouds being registered together. We used to have to do all of this manually, and we don't anymore. If we so choose, we can not see this screen the whole time we're in the field. And for those of you who have never seen this before, what we're looking at here is the registration process within inside the Field 360 application. Ultimately, our scans end up stitched again or registered together. that creates one big point cloud. Okay, so how does this help us? Well, it is fast. 640,000 or 640,000 points per second, right? 4 user settings where, depending on if you're metric or imperial, you can see the statistics there. The quality of data that we're getting out of this little scanner, and I'm showing you different quality settings here, by the way, on the left-hand side. The quality that we're getting out of this scanner is unbelievable. Right, so if I back up, this is our Fast Plus with HDR. Really, we're at, this scan takes about 37 seconds. Right, with HDR, we're about 46 seconds. And then this is our dense setting, not even our highest, by the way, at 55 seconds. And then our dense plus at 1 minute and 47 seconds. So again, the quality of the data is really just amazing. So let's look at the scanner itself, a little bit of a scanner anatomy, if you will. And I'm going to compare this to the G1 scanner a little bit. So if we see, starting on the left-hand side, we see the LiDAR dome, right? We've got a 30-meter range, and we are now covering the mirror from the scanner. All right, we've got an internal storage of 180 gigabytes worth of space. That's up to about up to about 1,500 scans. All right. Again, the dimensions of it, about 6 inches high, about 3 inches wide, very, very small. This scanner has one button on it. I always tell everyone, if we can't teach you how to use one button, man, we're not doing our jobs. And for those of you who have used this scanner before, and you're probably sitting there kind of scoffing at the fact that it has a single button, because again, if you've used the scanner in the past, if you push the button even slightly by accident, the scanner turned on. Well, it doesn't do that anymore. There's been since a firmware upgrade that stops that. At the bottom, it says mounting system. It's simply a small hole at the bottom of the scanner that allows us to set it onto the tripod. And the LED light that goes around, it has just a few colors: red, yellow, and green. All right, we see a red light, we got something wrong with the scanner. Right, we did something wrong. See a yellow light, the scanner's in operation, and of course, if we see the green light, scanner's ready to go. All right, on the right-hand side, we have the cameras that I've spoke about, the USB-C port, the battery, I mentioned the time per battery, and the weight. The weight is the big thing here for me, 1.87 pounds, very lightweight. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this BLK Live app. The Live app allows us to use the scanner and operate the scanner right from your cell phone. We can tell it which settings we want it to use, which photo type we want, LDR or HDR, and which density settings we want to be able to use. Okay, we can look at the data on the scanner and we can upload it to Reality Cloud Studio, which is the HXDR cloud upload. If you want to pass this data on to someone else, you can go with an E57 export. Very simple operation with the BLK Live App. Now, if we want to be able to do more, we can talk about the Cyclone FIELD 360 application. Of course, I think I mentioned earlier that this application comes with connectivity to your Register 360 software, right? And we can do the same sort of things. We can provide remote control of the scanner, utilizes the Viz to show the scanner's location. So what that means is those cameras I talked about, well, it's able to go ahead and realize where it is as opposed to where it was. And we have a blinking dot that appears on the screen to show us where the scanner is and where our previous scans were. We can register all of our scans in the field. Again, a huge benefit. And we can do, nowadays, we can do multiple links to individual scans, creating closed triangles or closed loops. Okay, we can create what we call geotags with pictures, videos, text, documents, and even if you have a mobile device that has the ability to collect 3D data, for instance, I have an iPad Pro where I can use the LiDAR sensor on my iPad Pro to collect more point cloud data. Maybe there's an area where you don't want to put your scanner because it's maybe very dirty, but you really want to have something there to fill in the point cloud. We can use our iPad and just scan it using the iPad to fill in that data, and it will be registered to the other point cloud data. Very beneficial. You can, add that point cloud data right into everything else as if it was scanned with the scanner. Now, keep in mind, your iPad isn't, or your iPhone isn't going to be anywhere near as accurate as the BLK 360, but still gives us something to go on. Okay. Cyclone Register 360. This will be the desktop software that that I discussed a little bit earlier. All right. We can take our data from our scanner, import it into Register 360 Plus BLK edition, and we can transfer that data right in, already registered from the phone or from our tablet or directly from the device itself using our Wi-Fi or USB-C. This is going to colorize our point clouds, bring in our picture data, bring in any tag data that we have. Okay, and then of course, from here, Register 360, we can export our data to any other software that we like. For instance, maybe the CloudWorx applications. Maybe you just want to be able to view it in the Leica TrueView application on your desktop. Or maybe you want to give it to somebody that has some other software that doesn't take Leica. We can export in E57, we can export in RCP. So let's take a little bit of a look at the workflow and see how it works. We go out to the field with our scanner. We use the Cyclone FIELD 360 app or BLK Live App if you choose, and we scan one scan after another. We can register that data in our FIELD 360 app. We can use the FIELD 360 app to clean up any of our data, get rid of any unwanted points. We can use our geotags and create measurements. And then we can even, on the FIELD 360 app, create a DXF or an IFC file to take into AutoCAD or Revit, respectively. From FIELD 360, we go to the BLK 360, back and forth, giving this data. Any geotags we get syncs the data to the scanner. Any point cloud data we collect syncs back to the iPad if we wish. And then either way, we can take the data either from our iPad or Android device and dump it into Register 360. So we can then process the data even more if we wish, edit it, register it, make sure it's all cleaned up, and then send that data out to something like CloudWorx. So the next question is, how does this compare to the other Leica scanners that are out there? Well, we know that there was a first generation to this, right? The G1. Well, the G1's not being sold anymore. Okay, there might be one or two here or there that you might be able to get access to, but for all intents and purposes, it's a discontinued scanner. Leica will continue to support if you still have one. Leica will continue to support for a little while, but they're not going to be making any more for sale. At the time the G1 came out, man, this was earth-shattering. Small scanner, collected data, collected good data. But now we're at the BLK 360 G2, as we're calling it, or just simply the BLK 360, and we've taken that G1 to a whole nother level. Right? This is the BLK 360 is great for those internal jobs or inside jobs like scanning a house, scanning an office building, scanning maybe a small facility or something like that, right? Leica's almost done too good of a job because they've put a lot of features that were in the RTC 360 into this new BLK 360. So some people will say, well, geez, there's a price difference. Why not just go with the BLK 360? I can understand why that question would be asked. But I will tell you, there is a right tool for every job. And while the BLK 360 is amazing, the RTC 360 still has its place for those really big jobs, jobs with shiny materials or dark surfaces. That's where that RTC 360 is really going to shine. But the BLK 360 is getting close. Right? Look at the difference in speed from the G1 and size to the G1. We are 5 times faster with the new BLK 360. Okay, just to put that into perspective, think about if I turned all the bells and whistles on the original G1 and went to go scan, I would be running about a 6-minute scan roughly. If I do the same with the new BLK 360, I'm at about 1 minute and 37 seconds. Why is that a big deal? Think about that. That's per setup. If you have 50 setups, you're saving roughly 4.5 minutes-ish per scan. That turns out to be a lot of time if you've got a lot of scans. So 5 times faster. The scan quality in the new BLK 360 is much better. Look at the edges and look at that, essentially a chair rail going up the stairs there, right? Or railing. The data is so much cleaner on the new BLK 360.